You checked out Noxie for us, mate?
Sorry, mate. Yeah, nah.
Looks like you could do with the fiery goodness of PointsBet.
It's like hot sauce, but for sport.
And now it comes with lock screen tracker. So you can follow your bet even when you got your hands full.
Cheers, mate. I'd shake your hand, but...
Same game multi from PointsBet, now with lock screen tracker. Yeah, that's built different. Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.
Hi, I'm Shaquille O'Neal. I'm wearing Rick's sunglasses, made in Australia.
Shaq loves Australia.
See?
There we
That's
go.
your first commercial right there.
Head to checkout and use the discount code ACES and you'll get 20% off site-wide. Rick's, eyewear that inspires confidence. Welcome back, everybody. We have another great guest, Jackson Warne, in the building. Thanks so much for jumping on, mate. No better time, obviously, with the summer around cricket and everything you're doing in the health space as well. We're going to dive straight into everything. But I want to start with your podcast, mate. It's great to speak to someone else that understands how hard it is to sit there, host, hustle. But what you're doing that not many people would realize, including myself, is you're actually editing it yourself. You're producing it all. You've got your own studio, things that other people aren't doing. And most people are freelancing or paying people to edit. I must say, I'm very impressed because when I saw what you're putting out, it's high quality.
Oh, good morning, Tommy, and thank you for having me. No, honestly, that really means a lot. It's been a big sort of passion project of mine since the start of the year. The intention of this whole podcast was trying to remember Dad, and me and Dad were going to start a podcast together around COVID because I loved the idea of a father-son dynamic. I loved the idea of who he would be able to have on, and in a bit of a personal reason, I think it would just be a lot of fun. And so Dad loved the idea. Unfortunately, it was never able to be. But now, since starting my own one, it's just been like a lot of fun. I definitely was not thinking I would be enjoying it as much as I was, or I am. I knew the people I'd be talking to, which was mostly Dad's friends, and a few of my own, like I've spoken to Max King, Jack Higgins, who not necessarily are connected to Dad, but I just love the Saints. I love them. And so they're also really good chats. But for me, being able to share a thing in common like Dad with a lot of my guests, for them it's actually a bit of closure. I can sort of tell when they're telling me their story of how they first met Dad or how Dad impacted them or helped them. I can sort of see for them it's just nice for them to get it off their chest. But no, thank you, Tommy. I can't take all the credit. I already had this set up at a big warehouse and I just had to move some things around, and my girlfriend does 99% of the editing, so I can't take any credit for that. I just rock up, do the talking. Kai makes it all look nice and sound nice, but no, thank you for noticing.
Oh, really well said there. I didn't think of that. It's actually amazing what you are doing for yourself and obviously your old man's mates that are coming on and speaking about the great times, and it'd be quite soothing. And I think I'm no psychologist, but I'd imagine they'd say this is a really great exercise for everyone, and it's good that you've picked up on that and that you're thriving.
Yeah, well, for me, I never have seen a therapist or a psychologist. I used to be somebody that would, if I had a problem or something was going on, I'd just not talk about it and bury it and hope it goes away. But as soon as Dad passed, and actually talking about Dad a lot, I don't think I talk about him too much. Maybe I do, but I talk about him a lot. I've actually find that's given me a lot of strength. And I find the more time I'm actually talking about it, I actually feel better. I had somebody message me saying they've noticed my growth in the last 3.5 years, just from when they watched the State Memorial to now. And they said, the more I'm talking about Dad, it's actually for me a way to heal. And I never thought about it like that. And maybe it is, but no, for now, I'm really enjoying talking about Dad. There's people watching and listening to the podcast that are also enjoying it. I do understand and acknowledge that it isn't very, it could maybe be quite repetitive and there's maybe not as much longevity to it. Although in theory, there probably is an unlimited amount of Shane Warne stories, but for my consistent listener, I'll see how I go in the next few weeks. But maybe it's time to pivot and talk to people like yourself and talk to other people that aren't necessarily related to Dad. But yeah, it's fun.
Mate, that's awesome. I think I just picked up on a little tip that we're going to get into later, but you might as well just dive in now. But it sounds like that advice, that piece that it's, talking about your old man is really helping you. And the fact that you haven't had any therapy or gone to see a psychologist is, that would ring a few alarm bells to people going, oh my God, there's actually other ways to heal. And I think that's a pretty good tip. And there's someone listening right now and watching, I reckon, that might be going through it, that you're kind of saying, speak about it, talk to someone about it, because it actually helps.
Yeah, I definitely believe in that. And then I also believe in action. So like, for example, even though I said before I wouldn't talk about it and I'd bury it, I'd still like either go to the gym or I'd do some form of exercise, or I would turn that energy into action. I wouldn't just necessarily bury it and not deal with it. I'd sort of deal with it in other ways. I just never really believed in talking about it. And it's only literally been in the last 3.5 years when I did start talking about it that I was like, oh, wow, getting something off your chest actually does feel really good. Because I do find myself when I'm driving, and if there's something that I don't have anybody to talk to about, or I've got a difficult decision to make, I'll just talk out loud, pretend my dad's in the car, and I'll just be talking to him. Hey, Dad, have I made the right decision here? Do you think I should talk to that person, or should I be doing this, or have I made a mistake here? And I just find to some people that might sound cuckoo. And if you told me you could talk to loved ones after they've gone, I'd probably go, okay, you're cuckoo as well. But I actually really feel Dad still every single day in everything I do. I see the number 23 everywhere. But yeah, for now, I think I'm doing okay, and I'm excited to sort of get Boxing Day out the way and go into 2026 with the pure focus of smashing out this podcast.
Oh, that's beautiful stuff, mate. I appreciate you sharing. It's exciting. Well, if you ever want to join the Ausmericanaces family, mate, and dive in, and you're a big Saints man, so maybe we can get you on more often if you want to come on as a special guest, because hosting is a completely different kettle of fish, isn't it, compared to sitting there as a guest. It's a different pressure, but it's also, I think it's enjoyable both ways.
Well, for me as a host, I do all the research, but I'm trying to find a fine line where I'll use Andrew Bassett for an example. He's been a very close friend of mine for a long, long time, known him my whole life pretty much. And we share in common the Saints, but then we also share in common poker, and we share in common, obviously, Dad. But going into that podcast, and it might have been because it was my 4th or 5th one, I was done all the research, had my run sheet, knew everything. Okay, great. But then when I was doing the podcast, we sort of had everything to talk about done in 30 minutes. So I was like, hang on. With the other podcasts, like with Aaron Finch, for example, or some others, when I was curious and like being really engaging and I was asking questions, I actually got a lot more out of the guest, and I actually got a lot more out of it. So I think I have to try and find, I'm still learning, but I have to try and find a fine line as a host, knowing and not being an idiot and doing enough research, but then also being curious and being able to adapt and ask questions when something spikes your guest's interest. But then also coming on here as a guest, I didn't have to do any research. I can relax, and I'm talking to you. I'm letting you do the concentrating, and I'm just speaking from the heart. So for me, this is fun.
Yeah,
I'm enjoying
well
this.
said. You're right, though. There's a fine line between, for example, like today, right? I did Campbell Brown's a good mate of mine and yours. Yeah. So for me, I prefer to have a chat to someone that knows you really well. Benny knows you really well. There's a few other people that know you well. There's a lot of people we asked out there to ask questions. And there is a fine line with prep, because I feel like the more you do, the more that curiosity goes away, and you know, because you know the answers. Exactly. But also there's a fine line of not doing enough prep. Yeah. So it is hard as the host, and I know what you mean. I've had podcasts where I've spoken with Mark Zara, for example, super curious, like one of the best
the jockey.
Yes,
I'm pretty sure he ran on Warne like maybe 2 months ago, and he won. I'm pretty sure.
We'll follow that up, but I definitely know Warne won because all my mates back Warne all the time.
Do they?
Yeah.
It's racing this Saturday again, I'm pretty
Do you
sure.
own it, by the way?
No, we know the owners, Sonny Roth and them, but no, they came up with the idea a few years ago to honour Dad. If we'd like to be involved, we said, look, no, thank you, but you've got our support and would love to get around you guys where we can. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Sorry to cut you off.
No. I was gonna. You've read me run sheet. I've got Warne on there. I've got Warne the horse on there. But no, I was just saying with Zara, like I'd never met him before, and he loved NFL. I love what he did. He's got some great stories. He was a bit loose younger days, and he found his missus at 30, and he's peaking now, and he's got great lessons. But we went for like 2.5, 3 hours.
Yeah. So that's amazing. Yeah. That just shows your conversation flowed. You both had a lot in common. It was engaging for both of you, and it was probably a lot of fun. And so what I've started to do now with mine is, instead of doing all the research and watching 7 or 8 of their podcasts and interviews and all that sort of stuff, I'll just have, depends on the guest, but 6 to 10 brief points that I want to talk about. I don't do any research in any of them. Oh, I do, but I just have brief points and then I go off that. And I find for me, if I know a subject of what I can talk about, we might talk about that subject for 10, 15 minutes and then on to the next subject, instead of asking a question, getting an answer.
Well said.
No, you're doing a great job.
Warne's Way, for everyone out there, subscribe, head online, YouTube, audio platforms, social media, everything. Get around it. You're doing a great job. Just with, you're up to 18?
Yep, 18 episodes. The intention was to do one episode a week for 6 months, 26 episodes, because when I launched, I did acknowledge that it does feel like every second person and their dog has a podcast.
Yeah, they definitely do, yeah.
But I don't know, I feel like that's also an opportunity to stand out. Like if there is a lot of people doing something, that's your opportunity to do something a little bit better or a little bit different and stand out. So my mindset isn't, everyone's got one, I'm not going to do that. It's, no, if everyone's got that, that means there's a big competition to try and be better. So that's my mindset with it.
It's good, mate. It's good. And a lot will drop off, so you just got to hang in there. Hang in there, mate.
I just got to stay consistent.
Stay consistent. Now, give me the best story. Obviously, you spoke about your guests. They come on, they tell some fantastic stories about your old man. What's been the best story so far that's been received from all the listeners and viewers? What have they written in and gone, that was my favourite story?
I would definitely like to say it was with Mark Howard, where he described this glow effect. And what the glow effect was, my whole life, everywhere where I got to travel around with Dad, at airports and at footy stadiums, cricket stadiums, on the street, like everywhere I'd go, I'd always just see their people's faces. They'll do the one take, then the double take, and then their face would just light up. And then 99% of them, because they felt like they knew Dad and they loved Dad, they would ask for a photo, ask for an autograph, ask him a question, and Dad would always say yes. He would always say yes. And I never thought anything of it. That was just my normal. But then when Howie described it, he described it that when he'd go to the commentary box and see Dad take photos with people on the way, he would see this trail of glow on the people's faces that when after they'd been in contact or saw Dad, they just had this amazing smile on their face. And Howie said that was just one thing he misses. And for me, when he described it as the glow effect, I thought it was the perfect word. So that's sort of what I, out of the 18 episodes I've done so far, can remember the most. But the second one would probably be with Sam Newman talking about Tiger Woods when we were following Tiger Woods at the President's Cup. And Tiger went up to Dad at the very end and he's like, because I think it was the 15th or 16th hole at Royal Melbourne, Tiger came around and there was a clap, chant, yep, all good. And then when Dad came around, it was all of a sudden, there wasn't chanting or clapping, it was Warne. Like the crowd was going bananas. And that was for pretty much the whole day. But on that 16th hole onto that massive fairway, it was huge. And Tiger at the end came up to Dad and he's like, excuse me, Shane, I just want to say I've played with everybody all around the world, played everywhere all around the world, but I've never seen anybody I play with get the reception like you have in their home country. So well done. And as I heard that and seeing that from the greatest to like Dad, the greatest, I was like, oh, that is just amazing to hear. And then Dad was being cooler. Thanks, Tiger. Thanks, mate. Good luck. And he walked off, we hopped in the car and Dad's like, that's pretty cool, wasn't it, Jack? I've gone, mate, that was amazing. So that was probably one of the other coolest stories I've heard, but yeah, there's just so many.
That is so special. In that moment when you're in the car, how old were you then? Do you remember?
2019, so it would have been around, 20 years old.
And what's the chat like? Obviously, you know, like he would have got that all the time, but that would have been a bit of like, well, that was, that was overwhelming. Like, what would he say? Would he be quite chuffed as well?
He was quite chuffed, but he never like let any of that stuff get to his head. And I think that's why he was always so humble. And I think that's why always he had a great relationship with the public, because he never thought he was better than them. Like he was one of them. Like he's one of us. He could talk to anybody in the smokers at 2 a.m. at Crown. He could talk to the people at the petrol station. He could talk to our Prime Minister. He could talk to the Queen. It doesn't matter who he would talk to, but when he was talking to these people, he was always talking to them in the exact same way he would to me and you. He was always himself, never tried to be somebody he wasn't. And so, on that way home in the car, we both just acknowledged it, spoke about it for 30 seconds, and then like that was it. We didn't really, we never dragged things out. But I saw that with hundreds of people all around the world, especially at the Dunhill Golf Tournament, which is like a big pro-am tournament in Scotland. It was Dad's favourite week of the year. But that's where all different people from all walks of life would come and play in the golf tournament. I don't like to drop names, but there'd be people like Bob Murray, Tom Holland, Ricky Lewis. There was just all these different characters from all these different walks of life. They all loved Dad. It's because at all these holes, people would always be Warne, and all the actors and singers would be like, who's this Warne guy? And they'd see this big guy with a smoke in his hand, long hair, and just like, I was about to do a cricket bat, but it meant to be a golf club. But like, they'd just be so fascinated by who is this guy? And so, Dad was always himself, and I think that's why he was always so humble.
funny. I was looking into like your old man, just the different looks over the years. What was your favourite look? Like, was there a year there that stood out?
Yeah, there's been a lot. He's had the shaved head, he's had the long hair, he's had the short hair, he's had the earring. But there is one really good photo. I think it was for an Advanced Hair Studio photo shoot. And it was like he looked like a cockatiel. He had his hair all the way up like a mohawk, which I thought was pretty funny. But no, I'd like to just say all the ones from, as I was getting a bit older when he was just really happy with how he looked and how he was feeling. He just looked healthy and happy. But yeah, to do a bit of a laugh, probably in the early 90s when he had the white, fluffy golden hair with the golden earring, with the gadding ball and all that stuff. That would probably be my favourite.
Yeah, love the bleach blonde hair. That's gross.
Yeah.
What is it with the story? Like one thing that I love about the cricket being on is they get all the vintage clips. And I saw one of the accounts, and I should shout them out. I can't remember who they were, but everyone that's listening would understand. They did a bit of a countdown, 7 days till the Boxing Day. Sorry, till the first test.
Yeah.
And they played a few videos of just your old man telling stories. One of them's like Kevin Peterson. He goes, he goes, well, that's your ball, mate. And but he just makes me laugh, and he tells a great story. He's a great storyteller. What were some of the memories of his storytelling, growing up?
Yeah, I just know when he was telling a story, the whole room would be engaged. And there was so many times where I'd be in a quiet room or a quiet restaurant and not many people would be talking. But as soon as Dad walks in or as soon as Dad starts telling a story, all of a sudden there's a bit of a buzz in the room. Everyone's a bit louder. Everyone's laughing a bit more. Everyone's a bit more happy. So he just had this ability to make everybody drawn to him. And then when they're drawn to him, make them feel a really positive way, make them laugh, make them happy. So I just remember the storytelling, especially around the poker table, was just always really happy. And the poker for us, not to try and make this sad, but poker for us was always one of our biggest things for everybody to catch up with. And we didn't really play any games during 2022 and 2023. I think I played one home game at the end of 2022. Because Dad always hosted, it was at his house with his music, his mates. When we had our first one and our second one, it didn't really feel the same. But in the last about 12 months or so, I've started having them at my house. And at my house, I've got the exact same poker table, the exact same wallpaper that he had at his last house. So it feels like you've walked into the same room. The exact same playlist because he thinks he likes to think he had the best ever music and music taste in the world. So he spent 2 days with his technician making the perfect playlist. So I always hit shuffle on that playlist. Same poker chips and it's the same mates. So it's for the first time since he's passed, does feel like that buzz and excitement is coming back. Obviously, we'll never be able to replace that same feeling. But yeah, I just remember when he was telling stories or people were around him, they just loved the energy.
That's awesome. I want to talk about the poker. You've led me in beautifully.
I have seen a clip of you speaking about the poker with Brown Dog and Mitchie Wallace, was it? Yes.
Yeah. The Brown Dog, I haven't actually ever asked him if he's won. He just always goes, I got poker tonight, train. I said, no worries, mate. Well, I'm around, but, he's flying around. But you do have an elite crew. I know a fair few of the boys. I don't know all of them, but you've had some additions over the last couple of months. And you've had Dyson Daniels has popped in there. You've had Giddy.
Yeah.
I think the first question is, how do they go? Did you boys fleece them? Who's the shark of the group? Because you're playing with the Hashems. It's not like you're playing with mugs, and you're no mug either. You've even been to Vegas. So talk to me about all that.
Yeah, so with the whole poker stuff, we have had a few additions with Giddy and Dyson, but those guys, I reached out to Josh because I know we're similar ages. I know he comes to Melbourne a lot. I know he goes to a lot of the footy, have a few friends in common. And I've heard that he loves poker. So I was like, you know what, I'll just shoot my shot. Have you seen those memes where it's like the worst they can say is no? And it's like something way worse than no. I had this feeling that I was going to get left on red or just like get a worse than no message.
Mate, that's just good feedback, sharp feedback.
Yeah, so then I sent the message. I said, mate, I'm not sure if you're in Melbourne, but if you like poker, I occasionally host a game. We'll love to have you down. He replied straight away and said, yep, would love to. So he's been a great addition. He's one of us as well, fits in perfectly. Brought Dyson with him and they were absolutely great value. Only thing with them is we usually used to play like home games, sit and goes, which is you buy in for X amount and after about an hour you can't buy in and then we pay top three. But with him we play cash games, so it's a little bit different. It's probably a bit more exciting. But yeah, I don't know. Poker for us, it's just more of a social thing because everyone is so busy now and the people that we're playing with are always either traveling or not in Melbourne. So that chance that we do get to all be together, it's just laughing. It's just telling everybody stories of what they've been up to the last month. It's usually Brown Dog making the most telling the best stories, as you know, Brown Dog story. He's also a great storyteller. He's very passionate as well about a few things. And so it's just nice to hear from his perspective. But no, the dog, he's one of the best.
Don't get him started on a few topics. He can get going, but he's one of the best storytellers. And yeah, I mean, it's great. He's one of a kind, the Brown Dog. That's why when I speak to him and I get some mail on you, you know, it's the best. It's the best mail of all time.
Yeah. Next time you see him, tell him all things E and see if he laughs.
Okay, all things E. Yeah, I will. I'll call him. I'll call him this afternoon. I've actually been playing phone tag with him like the last few days, and. He called me back last night. He's like, train.
Yeah.
He's like, I just got home. I got the kid. You know, he's a busy man. He works about 6 different jobs.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your trip to India, mate. I want to understand, for people that don't understand, fill them in on why you went to India. And I think some questions for me was, how was it? Any people that stood out? And, you know, the moment of signing some fans' hats and how that sits with you.
Yeah, so India for our family, but especially Dad, was a big place in his heart. Obviously, there's a billion of them and cricket is like their religion, so they just absolutely love cricket. And Dad used to go there all the time. He had a great relationship with Sachin Tendulkar, who's arguably the best ever cricketer. He used to go there and coach for the Rajasthan Royals. He played for the Rajasthan Royals and then he'd go there and commentate. But I hadn't been there since Dad passed, and I'd only been there a few times when he used to play for Rajasthan. And I just remember being really loud, very chaotic, very passionate, very busy. But yeah, they loved Dad and Dad loved them. So the trip this year that I wanted to go and do, which because I'd never been there before, like a bit older, I just wanted to go to where he used to play, where he used to train at, meet the people he used to coach with and be a part of the club, which was the Rajasthan Royals. So we flew over there. We went to 2 of their games. We got to witness history with, I think the 14-year-old name was Vaibash, hit 100 off 35 runs, which was outrageous. But it was just an amazing atmosphere. And then on the second game before we left, I had the honour of sort of opening the Shane Warne Gallery, which is the Shane Warne stand now at Rajasthan Royals home ground in India. But going on a separate topic, and I've said this on a few podcasts, Dad was quite selfish in a way because since he's passed, and I'll probably forget a few, but he got the Shane Warne stand. He got the Shane Warne stand at the MCG, Shane Warne stand at Junction Oval, Shane Warne Oval at Duncan Street, Sandringham, where he was a junior, Shane Warne Oval at Mentone Grammar, where he used to go to school, the Shane Warne commentary box for Sky Sports at Lords, the Shane Warne stand at Hampshire in London. He's got a hole at Cathedral Lodge Golf Course. Oh, I've forgotten a few, but there's like another 5 or 6. So in a way, he's just spread himself out like an octopus across all these different places. But yeah, going back to India, being able to open the Shane Warne Gallery and just seeing all of their faces was amazing. And I don't think they knew I was Shane Warne's son when I signed the hat. They just saw Warne 23, blonde, Aussie autograph, so I signed it. But yeah, just to see their faces light up was just amazing.
Brilliant. It's some sort of legacy when you've got that, though. You know what I mean? Like, you think about that and the impact. It's crazy.
Yeah, I sometimes don't feel worthy for the attention that I get because it was for Dad. Like, I don't deserve all this attention and I don't deserve all the, I just don't feel worthy. It was Dad's hard work and success that's made me even to be able to have a platform to talk. But yeah, I just think it just shows how hard Dad worked at his craft, which was bowling leg spin, but then also his relationship with everybody he came into contact with, which is why he still has the legacy and it's still why there is so many people telling their Shane Warne story.
I don't think you should underestimate, though, the glow factor that you have, though, on people when they get to. Well, I'm telling you, they would, because they get to tell their stories about your old man and they get to feel heard. So don't underestimate that at all, mate. And one thing, I'll give you a little bit of positive feedback, mate. You're one of the most well-mannered guys I reckon. I don't want to say of all time, because I don't want you to think that I'm lying to you, but you're right up there. Let's go top 3. You have the most beautiful manners. You're a lovely guy, and that's what everyone has said. And I've spoken to 4 different people to give you context, right?
Yeah.
So there's 3 people, and we even had a random person that wrote in on our ausmericanaces and said my mother taught him at primary school, and he's one of the most lovely guys she ever taught. So that's enough for me to say, you know what, they're spot on.
Thank you, Tommy.
So your parents have done an amazing job.
Thank you, Tommy.
Do you get that all the time?
I do get that all the time, and it was the first ever award I ever got at school when I was in prep was for having the best manners. It was the first ever. It's the first ever award I ever got. It's probably the only one I got from school, apart from my colours when I played lawn bowls. But no, I always got taught from mum and dad at an early age, manners are free, be respectful, be nice, just all these positive and nice things. And people always remember how you make them feel. So just always make them feel good, make them feel positive, and just be yourself. But do you remember what the teacher's name was at junior school? Because I'd like to think I remember all of them.
Coin is how it's spelled.
Yeah, Miss Coyne. Yeah, I know Miss Coyne. Yeah, she was like an older lady. Yeah. Miss Coyne. Yeah, I think she was my ELC4 prep
JC
teacher.
wrote in, and that would be his mother's name. So
Yeah.
there
What a
you go.
small world.
Yeah, small world. There you go, mate. That's the
Everybody's
impact.
connected in some way, shape, or form.
Exactly right. Let's go back to India. One thing, everyone that goes there, they say, well, you come back to Australia and you realise how lucky we are. Was there anything like that? Is there anything you saw in India?
Yeah, I think it's just the traffic, like our roads. Obviously, Melbourne traffic at the moment. This is, for me, one of the most frustrating things ever, because usually what would take me a 10-minute drive somewhere now takes 25. And I don't know why, but ever since COVID, it's just gone absolutely bonkers. And yeah, I just think the traffic over in India, even though it's very chaotic and there's no lanes and there's always tooting, I'd like to think of it that it flowed like a rapid, like everything was flowing in one direction and you were able to go into your turning left and right. It was very chaotic, but there was no accidents. Like everybody was safe. But yeah, that was probably one thing. And then just obviously all of the homelessness and all that stuff, like being able to drink water, appreciation for mates and air. Like I think the air over there wasn't the best. You sort of get sick after the first few days, but wonderful place, wonderful people. I'd love to go back and explore more than just go to the cricket. Like I went to, where did I go? Delhi and Rajasthan. I'd love to go to Mumbai. Yeah.
I haven't been, but people that have been, they do speak about,
You'll have to make
how
sure
it
you
does
go there
impact
for an
them.
IPL game.
Yeah.
Because that'll just, it's like going to America and seeing an NFL or basketball game. I've never seen either, but that's something I'd love to go and do.
Oh, you got to go see that. I love me American sport.
Yeah.
But I spoke to Travis Head about it, and it's like you're almost locking. Like they have to get full blown security around their hotel, and on the bus they go, and the crowd are just so passionate. It's like almost dangerous if you walked outside.
We're a bit far behind, aren't we, with our sports and entertainment compared to America? Like they're just so far ahead in how they do their graphics and their songs and their warm ups and their cool downs and just their outfits and just their everything is just like, oh, how cool would it be if we could do something
it's funny you
similar?
say. I was watching, like, I think NBL is an amazing product. But there's just a completely different view when you watch NBA to NBL.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is, but like it just doesn't look the same because of the camera angles.
Yeah.
And they're the little things like, can we just mirror the NBA?
Is it because of the standard of the NBA versus NBL, the players in the NBA are the best in the world, so their standard is higher? Or do you mean like the actual
I think
cameras
just
when
the
you watch
cameras and the way it looks. Like, would you say, boys, would you agree at the back? Like, I don't know what the cameramen are doing, but
I reckon
Brayden,
it's more like the lighting in the stadium and all of that
so
stuff.
like
the
the
stadiums
theater
would
of
be
it.
like hundreds of millions of dollars different.
Right. Okay. So like the theater of it, how the
it's the way
lights
it looks visually. Because
the halftime
the
shows
quality
and-
of basketball in Australia is through the roof. They're doing it. It's it's right up there. It's getting better and better.
Yeah.
It's just the cherry on top, I guess.
Yeah.
There's the lights and all the things, and
They
I guess
also
it all comes down to money, isn't it? That's what we're talking about. So.
And they also do have 350 million of them. There's only, just under 30 million. They've got 10 times our population. So maybe when our population gets that big in 5,000 years, maybe.
Maybe. Matt, I want to talk to you about Ant Middleton and your relationship with him. You're on the SAS. You got out of your comfort zone for that. Talk to me about that process and how this relationship's come about, because he's a hard-nosed pro, and I don't think he would open up himself to many people, but for some reason you and him share a really special bond.
Yeah.
And I hear you speak daily, weekly. I'd love to know a little bit more about your relationship with him.
Yeah, so Ant is one of the best blokes I've ever met, and I'm lucky to be able to call him a friend. How our relationship sort of started was back in 2020 when I did do the course, SAS Who Dares Wins. And for me, I sort of lived a very protected and comfortable life. Dad never wanted me to be exposed to the bad and evil things of the real world. But for me, I was aware of that and I knew that. And so when I got the opportunity to do SAS, I was like, this will change my life. This will be the best thing ever. I'm going to know what it's like to be in really uncomfortable areas like the freezing cold water, being yelled at, having to eat new foods, sleeping, water, because from day one, they want to get you completely dehydrated. They want you starving and they want you with no sleep. So if you can function and do what needs to be done at 1% you're going to be able to do it amazing at 10% or 100%. So they try and do that after you on the first day, which I definitely was. But I just came out of it with a completely new appreciation for life. It completely changed my life. My mum and sisters have told Ant to his face and said, Ant, thank you so much for allowing Jackson to come onto your course, because you literally, in such a short amount of time, changed his life. We got to see him leave a boy and he came back a man. And after that, me and Ant just really stayed in touch. We had just a lot of good conversations, and he was always really upset that he was never able to meet Dad because he loved Dad. And in 2022, after Dad passed, he was one of the first people to reach out. How can I help? Do you want to come over to England? Do you want me to come to Melbourne? Come with me to Dubai? Like, whatever I wanted, he was there for me. And yeah, since then we caught up a lot. I've taken him to the Aussie Open. He's taken me over to all of his shows he does. We just have a great relationship. We talk a lot. I was actually meant to do Mount Vincent with him right now, but it's the tallest mountain in Antarctica. We climb over the ice wall and everything like that. So I was amazed. I was so excited for that. But unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but he's running for Mayor of London now. So his whole schedule has just been completely transformed. He's wanting to make London great again, and I wish him all the best. And I've told him he's got my endorsement and good luck with everything. But yeah, he's just one of those people where I was able to go to areas with Dad and see people's reactions when they were around Dad, and they were always really happy and smiling and asking for photos. But when I'm around Ant and seeing people's faces on Ant, they're almost like a fucking, well, that's Ant Middleton. In a way of if he wanted to, he could probably snap me in half a second.
Yeah.
You've just got that underlying thought, I feel really safe, but if he wanted to turn me into a pretzel, he probably could. So yeah, he's just got a different energy about him. I feel really safe when I'm around him. He's one of the nicest blokes I've ever met, and I know he's got my back.
That's awesome, mate. It sounds like a great relationship. What's something that he's really taught you? What's the one bit of advice that maybe could relate to everyone else out there that's listening?
Be yourself. Very similar to what Dad would always say to me, just be yourself. There's a reason why when people get to the top of their industry, it doesn't matter if it's sport, business, whatever it is, if you can get there without compromise and always be yourself, I think that's really powerful, because people will be able to relate to you. Because if you're authentic with telling people what your struggles are or what your lows are and what your highs are, and people can go, oh, I've also had to experience that. Oh, so maybe me and Ant do have something in common. When you see these singers and actors that are always perfect and pretty and there's nothing wrong with them, you go, that's not real. He's not a real person. There's no way Brad Pitt's never had a problem, or all these but you never hear about it or never see them. So I think that's why people like to relate to people like Dad or to Ant, because they see their struggles. They see the shit that they're going through. So they're able to relate and have something in common.
What were Ant's biggest struggles?
For Ant, I think for him, it was when he came out of the military trying to adapt to civilian life is what he called it. Because in the military, you're awake at the exact same time. You've got your rules for the day. There's certain laws and agreements in the camps. It's a way of life. It's a completely different way of life. And so when you come into civilian life and you come out of the military, it's that adapting to what we live in every single day, but for them is uncomfortable or not normal, because usually they could have PTSD from certain sounds, or they might wake up and, something's just a bit strange. So for him, I think it would be the transition from military to civilian life. I haven't really spoken to Ant on too much of his problems like that. We try to keep it as positive as possible all the time. He's a very, very, very positive person.
That's great, mate. That's awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to hopefully, we might meet him one day when he comes down, when he's, was he the Mayor of London?
He's running for Mayor of London.
That's
I think
a big title.
A big title.
I think responsibility as
a
well.
Massive responsibility. I think he's going for in either 2028 or 2029.
So it's a big runway up to it.
Yeah, because he has to, obviously you have to get all the all politics stuff. I don't know much about it, but I just know he is very anti-crime. He knows how we can fix crime. Obviously there is a massive crime problem in London at the moment with all the stabbings and all that sort of stuff.
We might get him down in Melbourne.
We literally get him down in Melbourne.
We should get the brown dog to be the Mayor of Melbourne. He's not very happy with who's in charge at the moment.
I've told him he runs for mayor. I've told him he needs to run for mayor. He's like, I'm not running for the mayor, mate. I'm going for the premier. So he needs to go for the premier brown dog. But yeah, I just think if you can look up to your leaders and you can look up to them in a really safe and positive way, I think that's contagious. So if people look at Ant and they feel safe and he's in charge of a district or an area, you might feel safe.
On the show, we'll say you failed the ice bath challenge.
I did.
Is that correct?
Yes. So there was a water tank challenge that I failed. So yeah, so for me going on to SAS, I hated cold water. So for me, the three things I was going to struggle with was...
You scared me then. I thought my prep was wrong.
No, that's okay. Every day we had to get cold, so I was trying to think of which one.
Yeah.
No, the three things I was scared about going onto the course was food, because people think I was fussy, but I like to think I was a simple eater. Second was ice baths, because I hate being cold. And then the third thing was socializing, because I wasn't a very social person. So those were my three biggest fears. Coming out of the course, I faced all of them. But on the ice bath challenge, I failed. Was the water tank one, where usually when you get into freezing cold water, you go enter fight or flight. And you get that cold water shock and you panic and you don't know what to do and you freeze and you just want to get out. You can't think, you can't do anything, you just freeze. So on this challenge, it was already ice cold. The day before, Shannon Ponton, who did The Biggest Loser, got hypothermia. We continued the course. Everybody was like shitting themselves. So I'm seeing these people jump onto this hay bale, get into these ice tanks. And when they're getting into the ice tank, their feet are tied. Their hands are tied and their feet are tied. And what they have to do is they have to jump into this freezing cold water, touch the bottom and come up and take a breath 3 times. And when your body's full of oxygen, you can't sink. You're going to float because you've got air in you. So what I was doing, as soon as Anne's telling me all this, he's drilling it into me and I've just gone, I have not heard a word you've just said. And then he's just shoved me in the water. And as I've gotten in the water, I've panicked, I'm breathing, I'm jumping up and down, panic. And he just drags me out and you've gone, you failed. Go back over there and think about what you've done. And I've just gone, fuck, I fucked it. But no, yeah, I don't know. That was the one thing I did fail. I loved all of the gun stuff because I loved COD. So running into the rooms and trying to remember the rules of engagement and figure out who was an enemy, who was a civilian, who we had to protect. I loved all that stuff, passed all that stuff. But yeah, the ice bars was that one I failed. Good research.
It is
Brought
good
up a very
research.
funny memory.
There you go. That's good. We better marry that up with the footage. That is the way you just explain that makes a lot of sense. You got to get rid of the air, sink, and then push off it from the bottom. Do like a little spring, and then do that 3 times while your hands and arms hands and feet are tied. That would be scary
in freezing cold water.
Exactly. How deep was it?
Deep enough to be fully under and then have to jump up and then maybe do a few paddles and get up.
They must get scared about going, we've got to be really careful here that they don't drown.
Well, yeah, they are very safe and they do have a lot of people on standby. And again, all 4 of the people taking the course, and Jason, Billy and Ollie, they're all ex-military and they've all been in there for 10 plus years. So they're not going to put any of us who have no military experience in any real danger. And yes, it is real. Like I could, in theory, get hypothermia like one of the other crew did, or I could drown. But before any of that happens, they would be the first person to get wet themselves and pull out.
Yeah.
Like there was nothing any of those 4 people would do, and especially Ant would do, that they haven't already done or would demonstrate for us. Like the very first challenge we did, and it was my first impression of Ant, we was at Lake Jindabyne. We were all had the bags on our head, took the bags off our head, heard this helicopter driving to Lake Jindabyne, and this was in winter, snowy mountains in New South Wales. The water was apparently 1 degree, like borderline freezing. And we just heard this chopper come around the lake, and I've gone, and before I went on the course, I'd watched all of the seasons, so I knew I had a feeling of what we'd be doing. And I didn't tell any of the other crew, but I'm like, I said, I have a feeling that our first challenge we're going to have to do is we're going to have to jump out of the helicopter in this lake and swim to the shore. As soon as I pulled our bag over our head, I saw the helicopter. I'm like, that's exactly what we're doing. So my first impression of Ant was seeing this helicopter, him in there, look at all of us, fall back, go into the water, swim for a good maybe 10 minutes. I think it's about 400 or 500 meters. And he's literally just swimming to shore, gets out of the shore, looks at all of us in the eyes, and then just drags us one by one to the helicopter to go and do it. And I was just like, oh. So my first impression was falling back out of the helicopter, swimming to shore. So... Yeah.
That's wild. I'm just visualizing being there going, I can't be doing that.
I could not be doing it. But I'm just glad a lot of people like that have watched the show and I've spoken to since, they've all gone, was it really as hard as it looks? And I said, look, I'm just glad it looked hard because it was 100 times harder and tougher than what you actually watch because you're seeing the highlights package.
Yes.
So you might see us swim for 4 or 5 minutes, but we were out there standing on the beach for 3 hours waiting for everybody to go.
Mm.
So, or you might see us run from here to here in a 30-second highlight, but that might have taken us, 40 minutes with 20-kilo backpacks. So I'm so glad it came across as tough because it was probably 100 times tougher or it was 100 times tougher in person.
That's the thing. There's the production element to it and trying to capture it and keep it in the TV slot. So you know, you're spot on with that. The reason I mentioned the ice bath is because you weren't, you had that fear, but now at home it's something that you've got you set up and you do daily. So you've fallen in love with the ice bath and
it's interesting.
And the way that makes your body feel.
It's interesting because the three things I was scared of, which was cold water, food, and socializing, I now am comfortable getting into an environment, meeting people I've never met and socializing. So I tick that off. Food, I'm still quite a simple eater, but it might surprise you. I recently started eating steak about 3 years ago for the first time.
What? Steak's the easiest one.
So I started eating steak.
Have you had oysters?
No oysters.
I was going to say you wouldn't have had an oyster yet.
No oyster, but like I started eating
so meat
pineapple.
And 2 veg, you're not even doing the meat, you're just doing
no vegetables. But on the course, I tried vegetables. So I faced my sort of fear of food.
What are you eating?
And at the moment,
like what?
Just eggs, beef, chicken, pretty much. But before that, it was only burgers, pizza, Macca's, chicken nuggets, cereal. Ben Summerfield will probably know because I went to school with his friend Jack, his brother Jack, and I was always at all the camps not eating, house parties not eating. It was just Macca's on the way home.
That's bad.
So I've started eating a bit
no
better
you're
now.
Looking. Like, I need to start hanging out with you. Look how solid you're looking. You're in the gym as well. You're looking lean.
Yeah, thank
muscly.
you.
I shouldn't say lean. You're looking muscly.
Thank you. But no, I faced those two fears, and then the ice bath. I've got one in my house. I pretty much do it every day.
In the morning?
In the morning, about 4 or 5 times a week now. I haven't done it the last 2-3 weeks because it's a bit nicer weather. I just want to enjoy the sun. But yeah, those 3 things. I faced my fear and now I'm comfortable doing them. But then the fourth other fear I used to have was public speaking. And I used to hate public speaking, would never, ever catch me talking on camera and talking about something. I just hated it. And then after the State Memorial, that sort of changed my life because I went on stage at the MCG and spoke about something that was so public, 50,000 people watching live, something so close and emotional to me with cameras and apparently 1 billion people around the world watching. When I walked off stage and did my speech and I felt okay, I was like, well, that's probably going to be the hardest thing I ever do in my life. And for me to be able to do that and now talk to you and with cameras, like, that's okay. But it's weird, facing your fears actually makes you a lot stronger than them. I probably should have gone into cold water or tried more foods when I was a bit younger. But yeah, here we are.
It's great, man. A lot of people out there, maybe let's all face our fears. I can't.
I have a phobia of spiders. That's the only thing I can't do. Don't ask me to kill a spider, but
snakes as well. I keep them away from me. I don't know if people up in Queensland and that deal with them.
Yeah,
but I need to ask about this. Like, how does a young man whose fear is public speaking deliver a eulogy for his old man in front of 50,000 people live, 1 billion people globally online, and do it so well?
Yeah, thank you, Tommy. I guess going into it, I knew I had one job to do, and that one job was go on stage and talk for 2 or 3 minutes. And even though for me that was my biggest fear and there's no way I could do it, I could hear Dad saying, mate, you've got to do this for me. This is all you have to do. Just all you have to do is sit in the chair for 2 hours, and then when they call your name up on stage, talk for 2 minutes and walk off. That's all you have to do. So when you break it down into little things like that, it's fine. And also, I'd already rehearsed the speech. I did it at Dad's private memorial. I wrote it literally in my car in probably 2 minutes because I literally just wrote it straight from the heart. So it came completely naturally. So when I'm going on stage and when I had to do my speech, I thought, this is what Dad would want me to do, so I'll have to do it. Seeing Brooke do hers before, and then also seeing Dad's closest friends and family also get on stage and do their speeches, and just hearing the claps and the atmosphere and what it was about, and knowing the Shane Warne stand with us there, and we're at the MCG where Dad's taken a hat trick and 700 wickets and calmed down the crowd. Like, we used to call it Dad's backyard or back home, backyard or his office. So I felt really safe. So all of my fears of cameras and public speaking, they all sort of just disappeared. And I just knew in the moment I had 2 minutes to say these words, so just go and do it. But what I found really sort of nice to hear after that is so many people have said when my brother died or my mum or my dad died and I had to go and talk at their funeral, I was 40 or 50 years old, I actually couldn't do it. So to see you at 22 years old in something exactly like what you just said, so public and so emotional and with the cameras and be okay, that gave me a lot of strength. So when I hear that type of stuff, I go, oh, maybe what I did was quite impressive, or maybe what I did take a lot of strength. But yeah, for me, I was just able to break it down into a few littler things, which was, I have to read something I've already said out loud before. It's for Dad. It's 2 minutes. Fine.
Very impressive, mate. There's a lot of strength involved there, and I wasn't sure whether I'd ask you that question, but
Ask whatever you want.
Yeah,
You
no,
literally
I can
ask
tell that
whatever
you're
you
open
want.
to all these questions, and it's just so impressive. It's so impressive. So,
Thank you, Tommy.
Yeah. Well, what's while we stay on it, what's been the hardest part about the whole thing, right, for you, and then how have you overcome that? Because again, I love asking questions that someone out there is listening or watching that can relate to, and even myself.
Yeah. I don't know if there's a hardest thing yet, but I definitely know the saddest thing is definitely during this month of December where Melbourne and Australia is cricket. One thing I do find the saddest is when I'm watching like Fox Sports or Seven Cricket and seeing people like Ricky Ponting or Mark Howard or Adam Gilchrist talk to the players or talk to the public or do these interviews. I find it really sad that I'm never going to be able to see Dad do that again. Or I find it really sad that people walking up and down the street who love cricket are never going to be able to ask Dad for a photo. So that's probably the stuff I find the saddest because there's a bit of me that always, every single day, I try not to think about it for too long, but it's, wonders if I took up cricket, wonders if I played cricket. But I never ever think about it for too long, but I always, when I'm walking past cricket nets or a cricket oval, I go, I wish I could sort of go out there and give him advice because during COVID, and I saw it all the time before and after, but when me and Dad would just walk around, we both loved walking, would walk past cricket nets or a cricket oval, Dad would just go and watch. And as soon as one person on the boundary recognised Dad, all of a sudden the game would stop. They'd all come over, they'd all ask for photos, and everybody else that was watching their kids play cricket are like, what's going on there? Why is everyone on the oval going over to Dad? So I got to see that. And so that's probably one thing I do find the saddest, is just those moments I'll never be able to see ever again. But yeah, everything's hard, everything's sad, but I try and just be strong every day, try and be positive, help people where I can, and yeah.
Have you ever thought about getting involved and playing cricket at local level, or has there ever been any pressure growing up? It sounds like there was never any pressure to play footy or cricket, but did you ever have that desire to be like the old man and take 700 wickets or play for the Saints and play footy? Like,
Yeah.
Because you do love your gym and you get in there and you love all that kind of stuff, but you've never really had that appetite, have you?
Yeah, I didn't really have any desire. Dad was never somebody that pressured me into, you've got to play cricket, you've got to play footy, go and do this, go and do that. Dad was always big on, if you're going to say you're going to do something, follow through with it. So when I'd be playing footy as a junior or any sport, tennis, it's like, if you're going to play that sport and you've got training on that day, no matter what, you're going to go to training. If you've got a game Saturday and 10 o'clock and you're hungover, I don't care, you're going to go and play. And so he was always big on that type of stuff, but growing up, never ever pressured me, never put a cricket ball in my hand. I think if he could have waved a magic wand and me be a sportsman, he would have loved for me to play for St Kilda. I think that's because that was his first love. His first love was AFL. He loved Hawthorn. He loved the Saints. And he only got into cricket because he got delisted from the Saints. But yeah, he was just always wanting me to be happy, whether that was building Lego or following him around the golf course or whatever it was. I think that made him more happy than anything.
Well said. And it's great advice. Most parents, that's what they should do. So would you've got we might as well talk about now, but there's a big cricket match on the 23rd of December. Yes. It's a special number 23. Do you want to just talk to us about that and the great things that you're doing on the 23rd of December, and how can everyone out there, especially in Melbourne, get involved and go watch?
Yep. So I'm organising a game with my friend James Kennedy on the 23rd of December, and the game is pretty much just a day to be able to remember Dad, to honour Dad. It's on the 23rd as well, which was his number, and it's at Shane Warne Oval in Sandringham. So it's where he was a junior. And it just has a really nice feeling. I'm trying to think of different ways to be able to honour and remember Dad, and AFL was his biggest thing, so we do a big activation during Gather Round. Cricket was obviously the biggest thing, which is what we do at Boxing Day with all the health machines. And he also loved golf, so we just had a golf tournament, Shane Warne Legacy versus Bull Masters for Andrew Simons 2 weeks ago. So we've ticked off the golf, trying to figure out how I do something for poker. But I thought for just a nice, fun cricket day, how cool would it be if I could get some of Dad's closest friends and family that have played cricket, that have either played AFL, that worked in broadcasting or knew him in some way, shape or form. And it's because it's the Ashes versus the Barmy Army. Like, how cool would that be? So that's what we're doing on the 23rd. We've got people like myself, Bobby Quiney, David Hussey, James Pattinson, Campbell Brown Dog. The Brown Dog's playing, Stephen Baker, Brendan Favola. Like I've tried to keep a good mix of AFL and cricket.
Yeah.
And then we're versing 11 members of the Barmy Army. So I've got no idea if they're going to be good or they're going to be bad. All I know is we've been dishing it to them pretty hard this Ashes series, and they've been giving it to us back. So, yeah, it should just be a really, really fun day for the local community. It'll start around 2:30 p.m., which is obviously another 23. It'll be fully live streamed as well. So if you're at home and bored and want to watch it, you can. Completely free to go and watch and support, but it should be a really fun day.
Oh, that looks awesome, mate. Well, there'll be nothing better than watching someone bounce the brown dog. I hope someone can bowl.
Have you seen him play cricket before?
I haven't seen him play cricket.
I don't know if he has played before, but no, he was, as soon as I asked him if he was the first one to go, of course, mate. So
yeah, no, he's one of the most loyal of all time. So that's exciting. Well, number 23, is it because of Dermot Broden or Buckets Low?
Buckets Low, Stewie Low, but he's got the biggest hands of all time, doesn't he? But no, it was because of Dermy. His first love was Hawthorn. He loved the mullet. He loved the flamboyant personality. He loved the earrings. Dermy rode the motorbikes. He loved just being the loudest and the biggest personality in the room. So I think Dad drawed a lot of inspiration from that. So obviously when he got the chance to play AFL, he had the mullet and all that sort of stuff. But then when he got the chance to play for Australia and to play cricket, he had the mullet. He had the golden earring. He wasn't riding the motorbikes, but he had that louder-than-life personality. He loved a beer. He loved the loud music. He loved to smoke. He just loved a good time. And so, no, he drawed a lot of that inspiration from Dermy.
That's awesome. Does Dermy, are they great mates?
Yeah, they were. Dermy was at that golf weekend as well 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
so
brilliant.
he's one of the best.
There you go. Yeah, I wasn't sure. And the fascination, obviously, all the support, St Kilda, but obviously it started with Dermy. Like, when did the transition to go, I'm a Saints man? Because he probably made the mistake there, didn't he?
Yeah, could have been a mistake. But he was always Hawthorn, loved the Hawks, loved Dermy. And then it wasn't until he got drafted to play for the St Kilda Reserves, because it was all the zoning back in the day, and he grew up in Black Rock. So that's when he started going for St Kilda. But he loved Tony Lockett, he loved Stewie Lowe. He loved all of the Saints boys when he was a bit older, watching like Bakes, Rui, BJ, Aaron Hamill, Lee Montagna. Like he just loved the Saints, and he wanted to be able to support in any capacity he could. Whenever he was in Melbourne, always at the Saints. There was a lot of really funny memories I've got with Dad watching the Saints game around COVID, because it was just having multis on. It was like, get your 20 touches, or when the set shot comes and just missing a set shot, it's like, oh, please. So I've still got so many funny memories of Dad.
We can all relate to the
I've
Kings.
got so many funny memories of Dad just going, oh, how the f*** do you miss that goal? He's 25 metres out. And that was just like, even if it was only for $100, just being able to watch a game and just having that extra little bit of investment in it it just made you so much more connected to it.
There's nothing better than getting the points bet app out and just having a little SGM on it, especially a prime time game where you're just tired and you're like, I'll just throw a multi on this. So I'm interested.
The best was at poker, where there'd be 9 of us playing. We all pick one leg each, and it'd come down to the last quarter, and there's 2 people that haven't got their ticks because their players are on 8 touches or they've missed 2 goals, and just being everyone on the table just going, round dog, mate, or Bakes. If your player doesn't kick a goal, you're going to put $500 in the pot. You're going to pay for all of it. So just all that stuff made it really fun.
I do it with my me, my old man, my uncle, and Jimmy, my cousin. We pick a leg. We do the NFL, and I actually let us down this weekend. But the last 2 weekends is my cousin, and it's the same stuff. It's great fun, isn't it?
Oh,
it's great fun. I've lost my trail of thought there. Oh, that's right, the St Kilda. Where were you when Goddard took that big hanger in that grand final and Lenny Hayes laid that tackle? Like I was just thinking about the Saints. I'm really good mates with Zach Dawson. Lenny Hayes coached me one of the years I was at the Giants, and I was injured, but we just, we kind of probably just bonded on NFL. Yeah. One of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. But I was just thinking about the glory days of the Saints. Nicky D'Alessandro, I've met him. He's a great guy. Yeah. All these, they were so close. But where were you watching? Were you at the ground?
No, so for actually both of the grand finals, Dad had all of his friends over and watched it at his house. And I remember it was like when the first iPhones first ever came out. Like they first ever came out. And I remember I had one, and I had the Footy Live app, and Dad must have been pausing the game or going out for smoke breaks, or just like it was not live. And so when the game finished and I saw the score and there was about 2 minutes to go, I've come in, I've gone, oh my God, Dad, no. And the whole room sort of just went, what? I've looked, and there's still a few minutes left on the game, and I've gone, oh. And the whole room was sort of silent. I can't remember if who was there watching it with Dad, but I remember it was at Park Street. But I just remember Yeah, that's the only thing I remember from that day, and I've just gone, shit. So that from then on, whenever we had phones or was watching anything live or we were out somewhere and we came home late, Dad was like, mate, do not check your phone. I want to watch this game from start to finish. I don't want to know the scores. Even if we're a bit behind, it means we can fast forward the ads. Just like, do not check your phone. So that was that was one of my most vivid memories of the grand finals.
Big Daddy when Adam Sandler rolls in and like surprise, and then the actual bloke walks in. It's just real flat. I don't know what I'm thinking of that, but it's just something similar. That's great. And then obviously it was a draw though. Is that why? You walked. At least they would have been like, we didn't lose. Yeah. Was there a bit of like, we didn't lose at least?
Yeah. No, I just remember Dad. Oh, he was so angry. He was so angry.
That was a great grand final. As we know, the bounce, it could have went anyway. Who's your favourite Sainer of all time? And your old man's as well. Maybe current, like maybe just more recent.
Yeah. Well, I'd say Dad's favourite of all time was probably Tony Lockett. Yep. I know they had a good relationship and they'd gone out a few times, and he's told me a few Tony Lockett stories which are very great. But yeah, I reckon Dad's favourite or my favourite players now, I want to say I love Maxi King. Mm-hmm. I love the Hig.
The Hig's fantastic. And Kenny tell a story. He's hilarious. We had him on the pod. He's just, and a great story as well. Very inspiring what he's gone through.
Yeah. He's great storyteller. And I would probably say, but back in the day, Stephen Baker, Aaron Hamill, Lenny Hayes, Lee Montaigne, Nick Rewalt. Honestly, that whole team, BJ, they all play poker. But I reckon if I didn't say Bakes or Hamill, they'd be a bit disappointed. So Bakes and Hamill.
I haven't had much to do with Bakes, but I just know that he's an absolute machine.
Him and Brown Dog have got some sort of relationship 1,000 years ago. They've got to be connected in some way, shape or form.
He's like the Brown Dog, get along with him well. But some of the stories I heard, like I think there was a grand final there where he's like as sick as a dog and he, he's got a big role on someone.
Bakes?
Yeah. And
would be on Dane Swan?
Yeah, it was someone of the type and he didn't sleep a wink, they reckon, because he was like, he must have had the flu or something. And anyway, goes out, job done the next day. Like just not a worry in the world. Come back from a long-term injury, straight in, job done. Yeah. Like just mentally. Yeah,
he's somebody that you would have hated to be versing, but somebody you love having on your team. Like he was somebody that Bakes, that person cannot touch the ball. You go, okay, I don't care what you do, but he cannot touch the ball. Bakes like, okay. And so for that day, Bakes will be doing everything in his power to not let that person touch the ball. And it got to a point, I think, on the grand final when he was versing Dane Swan. He held Dane Swan to, I think, 14 or 15 touches or something. But then the week after, when he was trying to do the same thing in the rematch for the grand final, Bakes went up to Swanee, was just annoying him. And Swanee was like to Bakes, mate, I don't think you boys are going to win today. You can't win, so just forget about it, mate. And he's like, oh, shit.
But once the weighted numbers kicks in, it's you can't do too much on your own. Yeah. I want to talk about, celebrity encounters. Did you realize how big your old man was until, you now reflect probably and go, it's not normal Ed Sheeran just pops around for a drink?
Yeah, I sort of always just thought that was normal. I've been to so many times where we'd be out for dinner with like Chris from Coldplay or other sportsmen, but I'd be going to all these events and I'd just see how they loved Dad and how normal they were to Dad. And there'd be times where me and Dad were watching TV and we'd say, oh, how funny is that person? Or, in a TV show, and Dad'd be like, oh, I've met him. Like, for example, when we watched the original James Bonds with Sean Connery, like, oh, this is the best James Bond by far. He's like, oh, mate, how good is it? I've got his number. I said, what? He's like, yeah, look, I'll message him if you want. And he messaged Sean Connery. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he messaged him and he replied. And he's like, yeah, I played golf with him back in the day a long, long time ago. And was just like one of the nicest blokes ever. But yeah, I never think about it. I just look at them all as like their mates. Like people on the podcast I've had, a lot of people have said, oh, you've got a great start and everything. But I look at them as, well, they're my friends and they love Dad. So for me, I look at them as just a normal person.
They're just your mates. I just saw Ed Sheeran's, I think it's on Netflix.
The One Take?
Oh, yeah. Mate, that is so impressive. From every angle. You would understand the production that goes into a podcast, let alone trying to organise a bloke around New York City to go to I think there was someone getting on the knee, then he's rolling around to a party and a rooftop, and then he's got to go to a bar, help his mates out, and then I was like, and I love his music. I was like, this is so good.
Mm.
He's on a bus. He's on the top of the bus. He forgot about the traffic. Like,
yeah, he's one of the best blokes you'll ever meet. And he's like exactly what you see on camera and hear about him. He's the exact same in person.
which is the way to be, isn't it? There's no point putting a facade up there because you get caught
We're
out
not
eventually.
actors.
Exactly
Yeah.
right. What was your first memory of him? When did he did he literally just pop around for a couple of drinks here and there, or
Yeah.
where were what did your old man say? Hey, Jacko, got Ed coming around tonight. Can you just quickly clean up the bed? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was a bit like that. But they first met through when Ed came to Melbourne for the first time, I think 2013. And at this point, he was nowhere near what he was today. He had just released A-Team and was, had a bit of a name. But when Dad was staying at Crown, he walked into the Crown Villas and there was 2 big security guards at the Crown Villas and he said, "This is a bit strange. They're not usually here." Anyway, he went into his room and then a few minutes later got a knock on the door from those 2 security guards and said, "Oh, excuse me, Mr. Warne, we've got someone that would like to meet you." He's like, "Okay, who is it?" So Ed Sheeran. Dad's like, "Who's that?" And Brooke, that was in the background, was like, "Oh my God, Dad, that's the singer. He's here in Melbourne doing a concert." I was like, "Okay." They're like, "Well, is it okay if he comes here?" He's like, "Sure." So then 10 minutes later, got a knock on the door and it was just Ed by himself with the guitar. He's like, "Oh, hi, Shane." Shane's like, "Hi, Ed." Completely normal conversation is how him and Brooke describe it. But then, he stayed in the room for a few hours, was just talking about life. Ed ended up giving a signed guitar to Brooke, said, "Here you go, I want this for you." They all got a group photo. And then they just had a really good relationship after that. But then every time Dad would go to England, Ed's dad, #1 cricket fan of all time, loved cricket and his favourite player was Dad. So just obsessed with him. So Ed organised a day and he said, "Excuse me, Shane, it's my dad's dream to just face an over from you. Can you just make his dream come true and face just 1 over for him?" He said, "Of course, mate, let's go down to the nets and I'll bowl to him." Dad ended up bowling to his dad. I'm pretty sure his name is John. Ended up bowling to Ed Sheeran's dad for 2 hours.
That's unbelievable.
Just bowling to him. And he said his shoulder was cooked after it, no warm-up. But Dad said to see Ed's face and see Ed's dad's face just amazed every single time, saying, "Oh, can you bowl it here? And can you do a wrong un?" And all. And Dad was doing all of them. That Ed and his dad were just like, "This is the coolest thing ever."
That is
So
so
since
cool.
then, he's just always whatever we need, tickets or a friend in England. He's amazing.
That is awesome, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
I love that your old man just rolls the arm over. No worries, mate. And he can see the happiness. He goes, "I'm not stopping. I'm enjoying it just as much as you guys." When you give a present to someone, they really enjoy it. You kind of want to do more of it. It sounds like that scenario there. That's so cool. I've never heard that.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. There's so many stories like that too, and it just shows Dad was always himself.
Yeah. Oh, mate. He's and he was just so good at bowling leggies, wasn't he?
The best.
When you play backyard, what I want to do lately is I just want to play backyard cricket or beach cricket. When I was a kid, we used to play in the change rooms. We used to play with a stump just so more people would go out and you'd bowl heat and whatnot. But yeah, I just want to get back and play. But
you need to come and be 12th man for the game on the 23rd.
Oh, I'd love to, but I've done my hamstring tendon. So, mate, I can still come down and support, but doing the tendon at a Bucks party has put me on the back burner, mate. So I'm no good. I'm no good at all.
Neither am I. No one is.
Mate, this has been awesome. I could sit here all day and ask you stories about your old man and yourself, but I do want to care about you. What does your week look like, and what are your goals? You spoke about your podcast. There's Shane Warne Legacy is something that you're doing amazing things. Free heart test. You're already saving thousands of people in Australia by letting them go up and get a heart test for free. You do it at Boxing Day, gather around. There's other places you're doing it. You're doing amazing things there. I'd just love to know a little bit more about what your week and your, I guess your plans are for 2026 and beyond.
Yeah, thank you, Tommy. No, so what the Legacy's doing, the Shane Warne Legacy, is amazing, and I can't take credit for that. That's something that Helen and Dad's team, Andrew and Iafutu, all came up with the idea. And to this date, we're at nearly 400,000 total checks. We've got over 350 machines all around Australia, and this will be our 3rd year at the Boxing Day test with this activation. And I think if it wasn't Dad and it was just a random health machine or station, people probably wouldn't do it. But because people also still feel the loss of Dad and they trust Dad and they want to do the right thing by them, by Dad, they go and do it. But it's been amazing to hear all the stories of lives that we've saved. Like, we have proof that we have saved hundreds of lives, if not thousands. And even if people aren't getting the checks, that's fine. As long as you're aware of heart health and maybe taking a little bit step better towards that, that's great. I'm not going to tell people don't smoke or don't drink or don't eat junk food because Dad smoked, Dad drank, I drink, I eat bad food. But if you can just maybe be a little bit more conscious of it, or maybe go for a bit more walking or saunas, just being a bit more aware of it, that's great. And I think that's what Dad would have wanted as well. And then, yeah, my week at the moment is just lots of interviews, podcasting, lots of editing. I'm lucky that my girlfriend Kai does all of the labor and the hard work for the podcast, so I can walk in, talk, and she's on the laptop for the rest of the afternoon. But yeah, just getting ready for the cricket day on the 23rd. And yeah, I think being busy is good. So I'm very busy at the moment, but not complaining.
Brilliant, mate. It's brilliant. And again, free heart test as well, right?
Yeah.
Free heart test. So if you're going with Boxing Day, is that every day or just the first day?
Yeah, it'll be days 1 to 4. I think we'll have around 50 machines. But if you're not at Boxing Day and you want to get one, just go to the Shane Warne Legacy website, type in your postcode, and the closest one to you will pop up.
Love it, mate. Love it. All right, we've got some questions here that I'd love to ask you. This is from a few people.
Yep.
Everyone asked you about your dad, right? Well, tell us about the influence your mum's had on you.
Yes. Mum's had a massive influence. I'd like to think that if you chopped me in half, obviously in theory I am, but I would be half mum, half dad. I think a lot of the things I get through socializing and getting out of my comfort zone and taking risks, I get from dad. But a lot of the stuff I get from my mum, like being calm, just taking your time with things, because she's a very big yogi. She practices her yoga every day. She does retreats over in India. She teaches it down in wineries and everything like that. But I think a lot of the stuff I get from my mum is just being calm, being in the moment, being really present, not overthinking things too much. But no, mum's been a massive anchor for all of us, and especially in the last 3.5 years. She probably doesn't get spoken a lot.
No, I don't. And I think,
enough, but she plays a big role in me, Brooke, and Summer.
No, really well said. She's gone through a lot. And, I guess the way you are and your manners and the way you speak and all these things and your two sisters as well, like credit to your mother. So, and your old man, obviously. But yes, it's awesome. I wanted to ask you about that.
Thank you, Tommy.
I'll jump around here. We're going to go to the Australian Open. How nervous were you bowling a ball to Novak Djokovic, and how did it look quite good when he missed? So to talk to us about that moment.
Well, that was so bizarre how that happened, but that was at the start of 2024, I think it was. And I just got a call from someone from Tennis Australia, and they said, "Oh, how would you feel? Novak's hosting his a night with Novak. How would you feel bowling a ball to him?" I said, "Well, I cannot bowl at all. I suck. I'll bowl him a Mooney and pretend it's a leggy, which is just the slowest ball ever. I'll try." So that happened, and I had met Novak before, but how it started was Novak's manager, Mark, was really good friends with Dad. They played golf together, and that's how it happened. So I'm pretty sure that's who got in contact through Tennis Australia. But yeah, just being out there with Steve Smith as well and a few other Olympians and everything like that. And then when I was expected to bowl, because I know probably everybody thinks, cricket, Shane Warne's son, bowl, he can do it. He knows everything about cricket. He can bowl leg spin. I'm actually the complete opposite. I know not actually a lot about cricket. Only started getting into it the last 2 or 3 years. Do not know how to bowl. But yeah, I think Novak was nice enough and he missed on purpose. But I look at Novak as one of my idols and sporting heroes. I've got him and Ronaldo as my top two. Apart from Dad, him and Ronaldo are my sort of two athletes that I love the most. I love how they go about their business and how they talk about their health, their stance on a few things, and how much they love their family and all that sort of stuff. So being able to be there and meet Novak and just bowl to him was pretty cool. But yeah, I don't think I just bowled a pie to him and he missed on purpose. He was too nice. He's a professional.
He is a professional. Well, he definitely he didn't miss this when he pulled the tennis racket out and just thumped it into the stands. It was really well done. It was nice line and length, by the way, mate. I think you're talking yourself down.
Thank you, Tom.
You saw cricket moments that people would dream of. Being the son of Shane Warne means that you can go in the rooms, and being in the rooms is something that no one experiences. What's the one memory that you have in the rooms after a big test match or a win that stands out to this day?
I have one that came straight to my mind, which I actually can't say on camera. Maybe I'll tell you after, but I actually can't say. That's the very first one that came to my mind.
We want more. We want it now. We want it.
The second one that probably comes to my mind was after Dad retired at the SCG, just seeing everybody's friends and family in the rooms after that, sharing stories, having beers. I was only 7 years old, but I was on my DS playing Mario Kart, and I just remember everybody being happy, seeing Glenn McGrath's kids, seeing all of Gilly and JL, just seeing everybody together, all just having a really good time after winning the Ashes 5-0 and seeing some of their best retire, but it mostly being about Dad. I just thought is one of the coolest things ever.
That's epic. And one of the last ones, mate, watching your old man take a hat trick versus watching yourself take a hat trick. What was more enjoyable?
Well, I'd like to say mine because I wasn't there to witness Dad's hat trick. I've seen the footage, but when I took my hat trick again, I do not know how to bowl. I was not bowling leg spin. I was bowling moon balls. And when the batsman knew it was me and they connected the dots and they had heard or whatever, they would either try and come out of their crease and hit it for 6, and they'd either miss and get stumped, or they would hit it straight up and get caught. I don't think I actually took the bails off or bowled any of the balls, but I did take a hat trick. After that, it was pretty viral news. Dad was like, "Oh my God, you're going to finally start cricket." And I was like, "No, mate, we've got one hat trick each. That's it."
That's brilliant. I love this man. He's talking himself down. He's taking a hat trick. Ask yourself, have you taken a hat trick? I'll tell you what, I played cricket all my juniors. I never got near one. So it's an amazing feat to take a hat trick.
Thank you.
Mate, I know you got to go. So I just want to say thank you so much for jumping on the podcast. I do have a little present for you, mate. I've got 2 presents for you.
Yeah.
Ricks have just released their sports sunglasses. So for the 23rd, you might be able to put them on out in the sun. And I've also got you the brand new Soho Aquas. These will look Mickey Mouse with your blonde hair, mate. So
thank you, Tommy. Way too generous.
They're on the house.
I always see Brown Dog. He's probably your number one wearer of these, isn't he? I always notice when he's wearing sun, he's seeing the Ricks on the side.
Yeah.
I think he was wearing them at the Burley Pav last week.
He was. He said you're in fine form. So throw them on. Well, finish the pot off with.
I look like Agent Smith from The Matrix.
You look unbelievable. I love the colour. They're my favourite, the Aquas. What's the best place in the world that you've been on holiday and you'll be taking the Ricks with you next time?
Oh, I'd love to say Las Vegas. For me, that was just always the funnest family holidays I used to have. And it might sound weird, a family holiday in Las Vegas, but for us, but for us, just being there with Dad while he was playing poker, which was something he loved to do, and me being there with my sisters and my mum, it's just really, really fun. So this would probably be where I take them first.
Oh, that's brilliant. Well, send us a photo when you're in the pool or playing poker. You can wear them at playing poker now. They've got the gradient lens. They can probably still see your eyes. Yeah. Hey, thank you so much for jumping on. To everyone out there, really appreciate you and your support. Merry Christmas, Merry Ricksmas. Use the Aces discount code if you want to grab yourself a pair and look like the great man. And thank you so much for opening up, mate. Some great tips. Really appreciate you coming on. And I know how busy you are at the moment. So thank you. All the best. And if you ever want to jump on the podcast again or jump on some shows and talk about the Stainers or anything, you're more than welcome, mate. You're more than welcome. So cheers. And to everyone out there, thank you. We'll see you on the next one.
Hi, I'm Shaquille O'Neal. I'm wearing Rick's sunglasses, made in Australia.
Shaq loves Australia.
See?
There we go.
Your first commercial right there.
Head to checkout and use the discount code ACES and you'll get 20% off site-wide. Ricks, eyewear that inspires confidence.